Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode of Alternate Future of What If Civilization Started Over. In the last episode, we saw a few events happen, such as a big coalition formed over here in the Korean, or in the East Asian War thing. Um, it's actually really big. I didn't end up creating the second layer, as I am doing a, I'm doing 2 weeks of Alternate Future of What If Civilization Started Over. So I'm pretty much recording this right after. So yeah, we saw that happen. We saw Ethiopian or yeah, I'm gonna call it actually Red Sea Unitarian popped up. Small war over here, and also I didn't end up actually adding it, but oh, I'll just now because bye bye to fascist government and hello to new capital. Alright. Also, that's not a fascist government. That was a dictatorship. But pretend I didn't say it was a fascist government. All right. We saw war over here, and we saw some alliances forming all across the world. But all right. Let's get to the actual episode, shall we? All right. So these two here kind of still want to reclaim some land. Actually, I shouldn't have turned that off, as their alliance is getting a new member. And that new member is Rome. This is a very intriguing decision to many. Why Rome? Why would you choose Rome? Well, Rome is kind of sort of ish close with the Farmers Union and like these guys out here other than Russia. Actually, well, Rome's not really close with them at all. Rome's really not close with the Dutch either. But the Romans want to reclaim land. These two want to reclaim land. I don't know why Denmark is here still. Um, like no one else here wants to reclaim land. There's no one else here that has land to reclaim. But there is one person. Norway. They had some lands up here. Denmark specifically. They are not looking to reclaim that. They have what they need. And nobody else really wants to reclaim land. So the Dutch and French are kind of sitting here, but there is somebody who does want some more land, maybe a different alternative too. But that's the Czechian nation right here. They kind of only have one major city, and if they lose that one major city, they don't have another good spot to put their capital. Everybody else here does. They don't. So they're looking for some more population. Now, what do almost all of these countries have in common, other than France? They border Germany, who kind of stole land from Rome and the Dutch in World War V, Germany. So these countries are all some of these countries are kind of looking to get revenge on Germany. Others more so need something else. And Denmark is just kind of here because the Dutch needed somewhere in the north. Um, Norway actually didn't want to join this war, but if the war actually ends up going well, Norway might end up joining. They actually plan on joining either way. They make a promise to the Dutch. If you guys can actually do well in this war, we'll join you to finish it off so that Germany doesn't really have any last minute options. But if things don't go well for you, yeah, we're taking out Denmark and then you're next. So the Dutch are kind of under a lot of pressure now. But the invasion begins. The Dutch and French forces set foot into Germany. But wait a minute, we've seen something similar like this before. Well, oh, my bad. Why did I think? Okay, pretend that didn't happen. We haven't seen something similar to this. Ish. We've something we've seen something kind of similar where countries are invading another country because they want to reclaim land. You see that all the time in real life too. Um, I thought, whoops, I had thought Germany was an representative, like with the Blue Japan country, which we'll get over there in a second. But yeah, the Dutch are actually able to do pretty well. Germany hadn't entirely expected this, mainly because they didn't expect these two to join the war, so they didn't have force. They didn't really have, or they didn't expect for so many options to invade from. So really, they do have forces up in the north a bit more. They had planned to take out Denmark first, but well, we see that actually going quite well, as they do take out almost all of Denmark, just leaving some of the northern Danish peninsula and a couple of or just one of the islands. And even at that, half of it. But, well, these guys are taken out quite a bit. You see, the Romans and the Czechians are doing quite well in this area. It's almost the same colors. Alright, so, yeah. So there's not really any troops down here stopping these guys, but there are still German troops that are fighting out here. They're able to retake the land on the North Sea, or some of it, and recapture both major cities the Dutch had taken, and push back in the areas these major cities are in. And now the Dutch are starting to get invaded, and the Norwegians are like, I mean, this war could really go either way. We still don't know yet. It's still too early for us to join. But now we see French reinforcements are starting to actually arrive here because they were being extremely slow to get to the front line. But once they're here, you see the Germans are pushed out, and the Dutch recapture quite a bit. So now it is definitely more so that they think the triangles are probably going to win this. But still, there are definitely countries that might come to Germany's aid, so you never know. And just as we had, just as I had just said, these two countries right here, not fans of Rome, they start invading Rome. It starts off with the Lime team more, as they push down through here. The Romans didn't expect this, even though they probably should have. But we see the Slime team really just takes all of it. The blue team's just here to support. They actually don't get that far. They only get maybe about this far. But then they take this exclave out. And all of this is kind of left to the blue team here. Then this major city's captured. And out of every country in the in this war, second weakest and also the most underrated, probably, is actually the closest to the capital. Germany's kind of focusing out here, while these their new friends help out down here. And now Norway is less thinking that the Dutch are going to win. 'Cause now they set up a defensive front right here. They set up another big defensive right up here, and also a counteroffensive to retake this major city. And and then they start focusing the rest of their extra forces, a bit of them out here, and well, actually a bit of them out here, and then the rest fighting the Dutch, as Denmark has just fallen over to Germany. But that was the reason Norway wanted to join the war on Germany's side, so they could get Denmark. Um, but now with that reason gone, they're not going to join the war on Germany's side. They're probably only going to join the war on the Dutch side. They really can't get land out of Germany if they're on the same side as Germany. So the Norwegians are kind of split, but eventually they'll come to the decision that they will not be joining the war right now, and only if somehow the capital is captured here will they end up joining the war. And that doesn't seem to end up being the case, as we see the Romans are starting to die off more and more. The Germans are starting to push back against these Roman forces, pushing them down to this chokehold point right here. As goes with Czechia, as another major city is recaptured, and their own capital city is captured. Just the reason they're fighting this war is to get another city for their capital. So now Norway's less and less wanting to join this war, but there happens to be somebody who is maybe sort of kind of possibly wanting to join the war. Maybe they're maybe they're not actually going to do much, but the Dutch definitely will allow them to even fully join the alliance as an official member, as long as they aid in the war. That's these guys right here. Small but mighty. And that'll definitely be the case, as they've had their military here for a while. They were just getting ready for the perfect time to strike. And now the Germans are fighting yet another front. But it's not just these guys fighting here. As Norway did end up deciding we're gonna join the war too. So not good for Germany. Or these two, probably. We see Rome kinda starting to refigure itself out. And once this happens, I mean they're kinda unequal. They're unequal terms in terms of military with these two individually. With the help of these guys, which they don't really have, it's even more equal. But now that German forces aren't really coming down here to aid these guys and fight here, well, this fight leads to some recapturing here, and then suddenly this green country is cut off from the Mediterranean. So that's good for Rome and the Triangle Alliance. And now we do see one tiny itty bitty condition happening. Norway wants Rome back, or Norway wants Denmark back, but Denmark's liberated. So, but Norway wants it back. The Denmark has kind of grown. They're still close with Norway, but they kind of want their independence from Norway. But they're like, you know what? If we don't accept this, what happens to us? And Norway's like, well, we're not gonna aid you in this war, and you'll probably fail anyway. So, Germany or Denmark will accept, and we see Denmark officially joining the or Denmark officially joins Norway, or rejoins Norway, I should say. So, Norwegian fans rejoice. Eh, Norway captures their first major city of the war, and soon after they capture their second, which is also known as Germany's capital. You see the Dutch pushing up into this region here, and well, it doesn't, and there's not really much left fighting, or much fighting left for against or Germany's not doing well anymore. Their population is less and less in support of continuing to fight this war. Germany's government, on the other hand, is similar to Korea's, where they're a little egotistic. And it gets to the point Germany will surrender. Uh, Rome will also be getting back up to here before the surrender happened. But now Rome and everybody else in this will focus on these guys. Rome pretty quickly is able to push them back and out of their territory. The Lime team just kind of is like, alright, well, that's it for us. We surrender. And we see that happening right here. And then the blue team's just like, you know what? We never supplied you in the war anyway, right? Rome is nah. You did. You supplied them. You're out. So, let's take a look at the peace treaty for this war. It's definitely going to be something. Alright, so here we have the peace treaty for the war. Let's start off with what Germany remains with, which actually isn't a whole lot. And this is it. This is our new Germany. Alright. For the Dutch, they get that, and that, and that. There. They did kind of want some of the extra areas around the major city, but they were forced to give up those claims to Norway, who themselves got all of this, plus Denmark and the Danish areas. So I say Norway got out pretty well on this. Over here, um, all right, you see the red team here. They got quite a bit of land out of this, and not a single major city. Czechia got quite a bit of land on their own. They also got some decent lands that Rome had taken over. And then for Rome, they got this and that there. So Rome is looking pretty nice right now. Also, Germany is given like a new pro triangle government, although it doesn't join the triangles. But yeah. Alright. So I also mentioned I was gonna do power rankings last episode, and I didn't. But let's do that then. Power rankings. All right. So to start it off, at number one in the world currently. Ooh, wait, actually, all of the old major powers fell except for one, really, which is West Africa. Number two, we can head over to South China. All right, and we head a bit south from South China to number third in Vietnam, or not Vietnam yet, Tanzania. All right, no, dang it. All right, well, all right. Now for number four, it would be Crimea. Number five, you can head over to Mesopotamia for that. Number six, we head to Tibet. Actually, no. Number six, actually, um, I might, yeah, I might give that to Texas, actually. Number seven can go over to Tibet. Number eight, we can see Vietnam. Number nine, India. And lastly, at number 10, we have the maybe the best dish survivor out of every country in World War V. I think we have Brazil. Alright, so there's our power rankings. Wait. I forgot about Australia. Alright, so everybody else is below Australia. Alright. Alright, so everyone else is below Australia there. Norway could also be up there too. Alright. Now let's get to part of the reason these guys are five. Or they're six, but yeah, they united with them. They also united with the Emirati nation. Don't know what those were. I don't know what the second one was about. And obviously I do, but yeah, so the red team united with the red team united with the Emirati nation in the south. So, that's weird. Alright, now let's head back over here. This war is kinda, sorta, almost over. Alright, let's focus on what we have. Or what was there when we left. Can y'all hear my cat? My my cat in the background? Alright, wonder if... Alright, well, alright. Amur is actually pretty deep into this South, or this Yellow Sea country. And we see Korea makes a pretty epic naval battle go on out here. But in the end, they end up winning and making a big naval landing out here, which leads to a even bigger like push through the country, as there wasn't much land defenses out in this region other than directly on the coast. And from there, they even get into China, and most of China's supplies are out fighting against up there, so China can't really get back home. But we've got South China, who is sending their forces up here. And some of those forces happen to hear, as they're marching up here, they happen to hear about what's going on up here, and they start fighting over up in this spot. But, yeah, so Chinese capital is saved. Good for them. But then you have to deal with something south down here. Also, as this is going on, Red Australia quickly will invade into New Guinea, and right as they capture the capital, New Guinea pretty much surrenders. There isn't even another major city in New Guinea that the government could make a stationary government or a temporary government from. Oh, there is over here. I couldn't see that. But New Guinea kind of surrendered quickly. It's not really part of this war though. Let's focus back up here. Alright, there were no forces on this on this border in South China. Well, I mean, there were. Bangladesh, I guess, has more now. But that's also probably because they have aid from Vietnam. And trust me, this war is not going to end. At least, not. This war is going to end. Trust me that. But it's not going to end as simply as you think it will. It's going to keep going for a bit. Alright. So, South China is going to put to good use with their military. And remember, at this point, the top 10 powers are actually all, like, there's decently equal. Brazil's the only one that's kind of unequal. Even still, it's in 11th now. But like the top 10 are actually pretty stable or pretty strong or equal in strength. It's like yes, South China is has like a bit of an advantage, but Vietnam is pretty on par with South China. I think I did underestimate Red Australia in this. Oops. Um, but there's a reason they're lower down. There's always going to be a reason. Oops. All right. But South China manages to invade Pink, Pink Philippines, and they take it all over. except for down here, they don't get that many yet. As they need to recall their navy back home, as Vietnam is making a few pretty big naval landings throughout here, one of them getting pretty close to the capital. Too close for comfort. And then they start connecting all of these up now. And it's a repeat of World War V-ish. Vietnam and South China were never on good terms. First, they never really have been, actually. But all right, so yeah, uh, these guys, the green team here will never be. Well, they won't, they're not going to be invaded. All right, now see another country joining this war. So they'll be joining on the side. Of, they'll join on the side of the red team, and well, that country is actually someone who's been mentioned to this episode, Australia. But well, Australia is kind of experiencing some instability, and that instability is now a bit more with joining the war. They're not the only ones who join on the red team, as we see Seafoam Siberia does the same, and also this Tealish country does. They also want Yellow Sea access. Not really sure how they're going to get that with how much left there. But then the final country joining here, India, joins. But they're not the only team that join. We see a couple countries will join on the blue team. A bit less, yes, but they'll definitely add to something. Oh no. Okay, good. All right. Whoa, the Lime team joined the war. Okay, that's a top 10 power. So is Tibet. I mean, they've got two top 10 powers on the red team. There's three on the blue team. Now this is a bit less even. But certain somebody over here doesn't like the Lime team. So the red team gets another ally. And the red team, I'm gonna put that right over here. I'm just gonna I'll make this darker. There. Alright, so the red team is now in this war. Um Maybe that's why they annexed or united with the Emirati nation. That actually now explains quite a bit. Also, I'm going to do something real quick, actually. Alright. Alright. There. Now you can see better. Alright. So yeah. This war got insane kind of quickly. It went from Korea invading Blue Japan to now being the biggest war since World War V. I mean, it does span across two continents. So, yeah. But the last event we see during this episode is all of that happening, yes. And then also yikes for India. Well, of course India actually doesn't do as much as India would think they would do. These two definitely hate each other. This war is kind of fueled by hate. Tibet's just here because they condemn uh, Korea's actions as well. but the Lime team is here because they hate India, and India is helping Korea. Alright, but yep, that's the last invasion we see is the Lime team into India. And that will do it for today's episode. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.